Good day and welcome back to another DBZ Dokkan battle video. In this video we are going to be taking a look at the Potara category Super Battle Road stage and how you can beat it completely free to play in DBZ Dokkan battle. So this is going to be pretty much a straightforward kind of video, essentially just covering for a larger extent how to beat this event completely free to play. So obviously it is going to depend on what you have as like your general premise. So like for example, do you have X units? For the most part is how you tackle a Super Battle Road stage. With free-to-play runs, everyone's got the same units to choose from, so it makes it very much kind of like an interesting dynamic, because we can all essentially build around this principle of, okay, we all have the same units. So to a larger extent, if I can beat it free-to-play, it means that you should be able to beat it free-to-play, because for the most part, free-to-play units at least are seasonally available as well. So yeah, but with that being said, I think it's pretty interesting. I think it's pretty cool. The whole premise of Potara, I think, was quite a challenging stage. If I cut a long story short, was a pretty challenging stage, was a pretty rough stage, and I think for the most part, it definitely was quite intense, for a lot of people. But now it's gone on a little bit, and I really think it has changed quite a bit. So we're gonna take a look at how this whole team build works. First major thing is we are running the second stage of the Strength Vegito EZA. So we're not running the first stage, we're running the second stage of the Strength Vegito EZA, and I think that is obviously somewhat important to mention, because it can definitely be I guess more difficult for people if they don't have this unit, so I don't want to say that it is completely straightforward, that you're going to want this or that, but yeah, this will definitely help you out quite a bit. So yeah, Strength Vegito's EZA, the second step, gives you a 120% superclass lead, and I think this is super important. Obviously, Strength Vegito himself, as we know, raises attack and defense on his 12 key. He also does some pretty decent damage on his 18 key. Generally speaking, I like to get his 12 key. The main reason being, getting his 12 key is something that is somewhat helpful. Overall, it does really help to kind of control the flow of the battle. It does really allow him to kind of get a little bit stronger in terms of his general, how can I say, his general defense, because he can struggle a little bit if you look at his situation overall. He can have a little bit of a problem when it comes to how he handles things and where he goes from there. So beyond that, I definitely think that there is a reason to get his 12 key a couple times. I think it will just make him better defensively, so I always suggest doing that. Obviously Vegito, very crucial to the run. But likewise, the Tech Supreme Kai is also super crucial to the run. Tech Supreme Kai, very, very interesting unit. Obviously, he does gain attack and defense depending on how many Realm of the Gods category allies are on the team. Fortunately, we do have quite a few Realm of the Gods category allies, kinda as a default from using the team and the way we have to use it. So he really does help a lot in this event, and the main reason being is he obviously has that guards all attacks within the same turn as the first attacker in the turn, plus that health recovery as well. 15% after receiving an attack is a pretty noticeable amount of yeah, healing. 15%, pretty decent, I would say. Yeah, for the most part, I would honestly say it's pretty much stock standard. At least for me, I would say it's probably the like nicest thing about him. Obviously, the guarding is also very good, you know, without getting too into it. But definitely 100%, he, yeah, is a pretty nice unit. Healing, guarding, all really comes into play. Maybe damage-wise, he's not really there, I want to say. Like, he's not really super duper there. But, yeah, definitely, I think, 100% a very, very, very awesome unit. And I think he does do a really, really good job. So, for me, I'm super happy with his, yeah, kind of performance overall. And yeah, I think he's a very crucial unit to this run. So Tech Supreme Kai has kind of saved like 3 or I think 2 or 3 of my free-to-play runs since he's come out. And by saved them, I mean just made them super duper easier. So yeah, very, very impressed with him. And I think, you know, he's a super awesome unit from that perspective. So yeah, I really found it to be quite grand, quite cool, at least for me. So yeah, overall, I think he's quite a good unit actually. I was really happy with him, really happy with his performance. I think if anything, like I said, damage is maybe a tiny bit low, but at the end of the day, it wasn't like a huge loss. You know, it wasn't like this big painful slog. It was a bit of a longer SBR. I think this is one of the longer runs. The free-to-play runs will start to get longer. If I, to speak plainly, the free-to-play runs start to get very long. It's almost unavoidable. The main reason being is just that, whenever you look at these type of things, it's very difficult to, like, how can I say, say, okay, this is like a super smooth run, because you have usually reduced damage. And when you have the reduced damage, it affects you a lot, because the reduced damage makes things slower. Even though your defense may be fine, your damage is still pretty low, because a lot of free-to-play units don't output damage. They don't put out huge damage. So it is a little bit of a situation where it's like, okay, my bad, stats are low, leader skills are also usually low as well. So it becomes a bit of a catch-22 situation, because you can't really do too much more than what you're doing. But yeah, I think overall, for me, I would say, you know what, it is a little bit of a difficult situation. So yeah, I 100% think that the free-to-play runs are going to get a bit longer, and it is a little bit unavoidable as well. So yeah, obviously on one rotation we have Supreme Kai kind of acting as a pseudo tank, which I think is pretty good overall. I do think it's reliable for Supreme Kai to act as that pseudo tank. Then alongside him we have the Int Vegito. The Easy Aid one as our friend lead obviously is a unit I think that does tend to help us quite a bit. I think out of all of the leads, it is difficult to choose distinctly one or the other. But for me, I personally would say, that I think at the end of the day, possibly considering he's the best one, at least for me. I would say that's where I'm sitting at with this. I think he's genuinely possibly the better option as a lead. You have the Tech Potara Vegito, which is pretty good, that alarm. But for me, I don't know. You also got Physical Kepler, who's also pretty decent. But yeah, I just think, genuinely speaking, that for me, I would say, it's probably the best lead. With that being said, you know, you can do whichever one you want. You know, you don't have to distinctly use, you know, either of the LRs, although I think the Infugito does give the best kind of pull through overall, at least for me. But yeah, with that being said, yeah, to each their own. It's just going to depend on what you personally like. For me, not really needed. I think I was quite happy with the Infugito, and I think that all went perfectly fine. Then we get to a couple left field units. So we have the Time Travelers LR Zamasu Goku. Obviously a unit that's not bad. If he was running under a double lead, that is. He's literally running under only one lead. So he's actually not really carrying a lot of weight in terms of his overall performance. You want to try and use him to finish off a unit, and he does debuff units, which is obviously really helpful. But that is pretty much it. So he's really not carrying a lot of weight, like I said. Unfortunately, yeah, to fill up the roster, he was one of the better options. He has decent stats, so it really wasn't like a huge issue. Yeah, at least overall for me, considering. But yeah, definitely I would say he possibly needed like a little bit of a just a little bit of like better assistance to really shine. By running under one lead, what can you do? You know, overall he was okay as a floater, debuffing the opposition. You know, maybe finishing one of them off would then kind of secure him as well, defense-wise. So yeah, overall he was pretty decent. Here you can see the advantage of the Infugito, us getting the heal. Very clutch, you know, in terms of assisting us and helping us and doing a lot with us. So yeah, overall, very nice stuff from, I would say, this like situation here. So yeah, Infugito, super duper helpful, coming in clutch, and that heal coming in clutch. Then we have the Tech or Tech Candy Vegeta. Obviously just a great option. 70% evasion is always something that's going to be helpful. And the main thing that does come in handy is his stun. His stun is something that is super duper helpful. And something that I think a lot of people can appreciate, because it is going to, you know, help him out overall. So yeah, I personally found his stunning to be really helpful and really good. But you know, everyone's gonna have their own like opinion on like which units to take, but I think Handy Vegeta is probably the most universal one. I don't think anyone ever is going to complain about like, you know, using Handy Vegeta. I think he's definitely a unit people probably want to use universally. He definitely helps everyone else out, yeah, and I think his stunning is invaluable. I think him as a unit is just invaluable. And yeah, I just think in general he's a pretty swag guy. I think he's really one of the units that everyone can just agree was fantastic, and I think really helps everyone out. So yeah, I was super duper happy with his performance. Yeah, don't even need to really mention it too much. Yeah, he just is a very solid unit. So yeah, super happy about that. Super happy just in general with the team. Like I said, it was a really solid team. I really wasn't like, you know, too put off by anything with it. I think overall it did a great job. And yeah, I personally really enjoyed like running with this team and yeah, doing these type of builds and everything. I think they are really cool. And yeah, I think for the most part I was, you know, quite happy with everything. So yeah, for me, super duper chuffed, really happy. And yeah, I think overall the run went pretty well. You will notice that I have a TUR copy of Vegito. So that is, yeah, that's interesting to say the least. So I do have a TUR copy of Vegito. I think honestly speaking, that is kind of where I'm at with like this team. Right now, there's not a great 6th Potara option, and I do think it's a little bit hindering on the team. So yeah, I do think overall, you know, if you are interested in like let's say doing this run free to play, then you're going to need to probably get this Vegeta. If you're not, if you're just looking at this for ideas on how to beat the run normally, then yeah, I think actually you don't need him at all. So it's just going to depend on what you think is good, and yeah. But for me personally, I would say, yeah, don't worry too much about it. You should be more than fine. At least for me, I think you should have a pretty decent time overall. But that being said, guys, these free-to-play runs are more just for inspiration than anything else. The concept of them is very much still just to give people good ideas on what they can do, and what they can build and what they can run with their teams. And I think that's always the idea behind free-to-play builds. Playing the game completely free-to-play is actually more a chore than anything else, if I'm entirely honest with you. It doesn't really prove or show anything, as it's usually just an RNG fest. I think it's definitely, at least for me, not something that I'm distinctly interested in, at least from my side. I think, like, how can I say, I think, there is kind of a penchant to like, ooh, free to play is this big thing. It's really just an RNG fest. It really does just amount to, how much are you willing to grind out a stage or retry a stage, or go for RNG, hope that the friend lead carries you. There's a lot of things about it, that is always kind of, I want to say, a flare point when evaluating free-to-play as like this concept. At the end of the day, it doesn't really matter too much, but I do think transparency is key, and I don't really think free-to-play amounts to much, if I'm entirely honest with you. Free-to-play is like celebrating, having a sprained ankle and trying to play a basketball game, and it's just very weird, basically. But yeah, overall, I think this run was pretty successful. I think the team was pretty good. I do think it needs more options, but yeah, overall I was pretty chuffed with just the concept of the team and how everything came together. Bit of a longer run, of course, but at the end of the day, guys, that's not a big issue to have a longer run. It's only really an issue if you fail, and at the end of the day, we succeeded, even against the hard tech Gogeta. But that's it from me. Bye.